So, yeah, it definitely started out as one of those nights where I'd play video games much longer than I should have. It was already almost 2 a.m. I'd been playing a bunch of payload maps and my server was slowly emptying out, but I just kept playing, hoping eventually it would fill up again. I ended up on Breadspace, and the teams were pretty pathetically only had a handful of people on each side. I really should have just cut my losses then. Logged out, passed out, and, well, people just kept disconnecting. Before I knew it, I was at the start of a game and I was totally alone. No teammates, no one on the red team. It was just me and no one else. I waited a few moments in the spawn room in pregame, still hoping someone else would join, but time goes by, no one else shows up, and then the round just begins with me, still alone. Now, I'm on blue team, so I can push the cart if I really wanted to. One little voice in my head is just telling me to log off and go to bed. But then another is a bit curious. Why don't I just start pushing and then see if anyone else shows up? I start theorizing in my mind that, if I start, maybe I'll get auto-balanced to the other team. It'll be some back and forth with just myself in the cart, or maybe even I'll make it all the way to the end. Who knows? So I switch over to Scout for the, 2 times payload speed just to make it a little bit faster. It's just me, my scatter gun, and the cart. And I just start pushing. One thing I never realized until then is just how loud the cart actually is. When there isn't the chaos of battle, when people aren't spamming voice lines, when it's just you and the cart, you really just hear everything about it. The squeaky turning of the wheels is surprisingly loud, and it echoes a lot when the whole map is empty. Now, Scout still sounds his voice lines even when he's all alone. It's kind of funny because, of course, there's no one there for him to yell at. I end up making it all the way to the first point with no one still in the game. By that time, I was thinking I would just make it all the way to the end because, well, why not, The announcer makes his announcements and I just keep going. Now, I'd heard a lot about liminal spaces online. The original backroom stuff, those empty pool pictures you see on Reddit, but I think that was the first time I'd realized that a virtual space could be liminal too. A map that's just usually filled with so much chaos and noise and people is just empty and quiet. It's like this weird calm that also fills you with a sense of paranoia. Like, I just felt at any moment I'd turn a corner and get a jump scare. Nothing exactly like that had happened. I think it was just late when I saw it. I was sleep deprived. Or, well, when I thought I saw it. It was at the corner of the screen just before the final control point. I'd made it to the door, and funny enough, for the first time, for me, on Breadspace, I was able to watch the bread monster screaming animation without being too distracted. I thought it was pretty neat, actually. But, yeah, it was near the red resupply door. I saw it open, and then close. While there wasn't any cloak effect, I think I saw a cloaked spy. I checked the chat feed and no one had joined the game. Looking at the roster again, I had no teammates and there wasn't anyone on the enemy team either. I blamed it on it just being a glitch. Maybe I just saw the respawn points reset. So I just kept pushing the cart into the bread monster's mouth. It was a little bit louder now, mostly because the monster actually makes a lot of noise. But it was still just me, alone. here I was thinking that I'd played the easiest game of payload in my life. And while I was pushing, just about as I was about to tip the bomb in the monster's mouth, the number of people pushing went up. From a single scout's 2 to just suddenly 3. I only saw it for a moment, because then the victory screen popped up. I was still the only one on the leaderboard. No other names had shown up. I don't know if it was a glitch. I suppose it could have been, but I still don't really know. Ever since then, when I notice my server is starting to empty out, I leave before I'm the only one left. After that experience, after being in one of those liminal spaces, I just really didn't want to experience that again.